are going to need.
But for this, did you do that on your end and we're going to kind of mimic it, or does he need to do that now?
From what I understood, he said he wanted to attempt to do it in his with a small set of data. Did you want to do it somewhere else?
No, are we just looking at importing a couple contacts and opportunities for the PSOs?
You want to... Wait, can you repeat that? Sorry. I was hearing an echo in the beginning.
Sorry. We're wanting to put in a couple of contacts and accounts maybe and opportunities for some new credits.
But that would be in your instance that you want to do that, right? So you would have to add the fields in order for us to match for data loader.
Yeah, can I just share what I put together real quick?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, can you hold on a second?
Yep.
For some reason my thing is dead. I got booted off again.
Yeah, you got booted.
Are you still on?
Ashley, can you hear me?
Hear you?
Yeah, I'm still on.
So I don't know what it does with the recording. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Looks like it's still back. I'm just going to go over to yours.
Okay.
How's it going? I'm a little bit jealous. You're always the one who's traveling.
I'm sure Cincinnati would do well to have you.
So, do you want me to share screen? Are we recording or?
Yeah, I think we're recording, so I think we're good.
Okay, I'm gonna share screen. Okay. So Ashley, what I did, hopefully this fires up here. I pulled the credits like I normally do. I just pulled a small batch of them that were issued recently, so I had only 3 account numbers to make sure weren't assigned. So it's just pretty easy for the example.
Okay. So you know for a fact that they're not assigned?
I do.
Okay, then we could just do an insert. We don't need to add that field yet. Once you start doing upserts, you will need that field added, that TID field.
So I have that in opportunities.
So...
Not at the account level.
So is that usually all the information that you put in?
So this is this spreadsheet. I've just condensed down and took out all the stuff I didn't need.
Okay.
And put in, like, for an opportunity, I need to know whose territory it is, what the close date is. You know, I've got the TID account number, what kind of payment type, and then this came from that PSO list. So I've got the account name, the contact email, first name, last name, etc. Opportunity amount type. There's a field for region and lead source.
Okay.
I threw it into.
And those accounts already exist, though, right?
They do. So
okay.
this is all the information that the rep needs really to create a. Well, we need a stage, don't we?
Yeah.
It's qualified interest. Sure, I've got that right. Hang on. Yep.
So then the only other thing that you still need in order to do this insert is you need the Salesforce account ID.
Okay. So that's where I think we're gonna have a problem because again, some of these have more than one account listed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Here, I guess we're okay, but does it tell you an account ID?
If you look at the top in the URL, there's a couple of letters or numbers before the question mark. That is your account ID in Salesforce. It's a little shortcut trick.
if I had to do like 200 of these, I'd have to look them all up.
So that's why if we add in that field on the account level, that TID field on the account level, you can insert based on that ID instead of on the Salesforce account ID. Does that make sense?
I'm just thinking through. So we add the field TID at the account level.
Yes. So that would give us the ability to, so I guess where I'm a little bit confused is when you guys get these lists, do the accounts already exist in Salesforce, or do you manually create the accounts as well? Or are they?
Our accounts account names, like the company names?
Yes.
We do both.
Okay,
So
that's where this field comes in. We would use that TID field to insert the actual accounts themselves, and then we would pull those accounts back out of the system to get their Salesforce ID number, because if you want to run a report right now, it'll give you that account number in Salesforce. And you export that, and that's where the one VLOOKUP would come on. You'd have to pull the account ID onto this sheet, and if you have 200, taking 10 minutes to run a report and then inserting those 200 is going to be a lot quicker. With 3, obviously it takes a little bit more time and it doesn't seem as useful, but you have to look at once it gets larger, that's where the effect is going to come in. Does that make sense?
Sorta.
Okay, so right, that TID number needs to be put on the account level. That's part of the problem because that's the only way to compare which account an opportunity belongs to at this point.
Okay, so let's start there. So if I add TID at the account level, all of them will be blank, right?
Yes, so what we'll do is we'll pull all opportunities, we'll pull that number out, and we'll insert them back on the account.
And then, so say this account here.
Yep.
It'll say there was a previous account number, TID number. So that'll already be on there, right?
Yep.
From previous, and this one's new. I guess
Which one's new?
So
maps.
let me ask you a question. What about entering an additional field at the account object level freaks you out?
I don't understand how it works.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we back up a step, Ashley, because I think that's the confusion
Okay.
So on an object in Salesforce, right? You're gonna indicate what fields that you want on that particular object. In this case, we're talking about an account object.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, the structure in your account object doesn't have what the account ID associated with, no, the Salesforce ID, right?
Yes.
Which one does it not have, Ash?
It does. It's got a Salesforce ID to it. The hard part is we need to pull that Salesforce ID in order to load these opportunities.
Right, but we're talking about adding a field to that account object to do that, correct?
Yes, so by adding that TID field, we now have something to compare it to.
Right. So in the account object,
This.
yes, this. If we added a field that had the Salesforce ID with it.
Not the Salesforce ID, the TID ID, because that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, the TID to this account object, right? What she's saying is when you get your list from Excel, we can export this dude and then do that. We can export an Excel, a report from Salesforce, use the Excel document that you have that already has the TID, and then match the two through a manual process in Excel that would be a VLOOKUP to come up with a list that you would then import back into Salesforce, right, for the new accounts that are ultimately going to become opportunities that we're going to burn PSO credits against. Does that make sense? Because right now, you guys manually do that, right? You manually
On
go
some.
but
Well, wait. So, if it's an existing account, then all we're doing is possibly adding a contact, definitely adding an opportunity.
So yeah, so and that's the part where I'm trying to get up to speed then too here on this one. Ashley, help me understand, where are you ultimately going to go with this? Is this to help update new accounts, or is it to help update new opportunities against an account number?
So it'll do both. When you get the huge list of 1,000, you will use that TID number to do an upsert. And what'll happen is it'll look for that number within Salesforce, and it'll update any of your existing accounts to the correct information they just gave you, as well as create new accounts for those who don't exist. So once you've done that upsert, then you will go into Salesforce and pull a report of all the accounts that you just touched, and that'll give you their Salesforce ID number.
Right.
So then you just export that and use a VLOOKUP to then insert all of the opportunities as well.
Oh, okay. So there's two reconciliations that happen.
Yes, you're going to do 2 inserts into Salesforce, and you're going to have to pull 1 report and do 1 VLOOKUP in order to get that done.
For each, 1 for each. So
One.
you're talking about with this process where so taking back here, dude, I got to whiteboard this thing because it's starting to now.
I probably look lost. So
Yeah, right now what we're saying I think is you get an Excel document that has data elements in it that we ultimately use for PSO leads, right?
Mhm.
Unassigned.
okay.
Are you tracking with this, Ashley? I'm whiteboarding, but can you understand what I'm getting at here?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see the
I
whiteboard?
I cannot see the whiteboard. I'm still seeing.
Stop sharing.
Yep.
Hold on. Where is that?
That one, kill that.
Did it stop? There you
Okay.
go.
Yep, now I can see.
So we're talking about a few things, right? Here's this list, Excel list, right? And we
Yep.
get, and it has line items on it that are the PSO leads.
Yep.
Right? The PSO leads, he takes a manual process of going and in Excel formatting those. This is Excel. We format these so that way it can go to an ISR. This is a person who then goes through and updates the opportunities. Well, you do 2 things, right? You update accounts if it's new, right? If it's a new
Yeah, we have
account,
to create it if it's new.
and new opportunities
And contact, possibly, if it's not existing.
and new contacts. Okay. So there's 3 objects in Salesforce that we're ultimately going to update from this sheet that he's mimicking, right?
Yep.
So what I'm asking is, when we add the field TID to the account object, so let's just talk about the account object right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying it currently does not have TID, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I think what she's saying then is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, but
Yep.
I think what you're saying then is if we simply add this field, TID, to the account object, we can use data importer, right?
Mm-hmm.
To take this list, we'd have to do some formatting for it, right? Because there'd be 2 things, right? There'd be a report that dumps out of all the account objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a report. This report can be VLOOKUP up against here
Yep.
to see what the new account IDs are?
Yep.
Okay, so these 2 get reconciled, and then at the end we come up with another list, Excel list, that we use this to import into new accounts.
Wait, repeat that last part?
So this new list, after we
Yep.
do the reconciliation, after we take the report out of the account objects,
Yep.
and we compare it to his report that he received, and what we're finding is new accounts, right? New accounts.
Oh no, so we would do the upsert before we even know which ones are new and which ones are not, because that number will allow you to upsert, so it'll update existing ones and create new ones. So we don't even have to go through that process. That process comes into effect once you're trying to insert an opportunity or a contact. That's the only time we need Salesforce's account ID. Does that make sense?
No, I think you kind of lost me there. So on the
Okay.
report,
So,
the report that comes out of Salesforce,
yep.
that report, why are we reconciling it against the list that we had for the leads?
So that we can insert their opportunities.
Okay, so on that list, we're going to have a series of new opportunities that could potentially have already existing account numbers. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay, so does that so when we use data importer to pull that list into Salesforce, we need what? We need a field in the account object to do that?
Well, give me like 2 seconds and I'm going to quick create a couple of things so
Okay.
that I can show you on my screen what it'll look like.
All right. I think where we're falling down, Ash, and while you're putting it together, maybe it might matter, but I think what I'm falling down, I'm not going to speak for James, but where I'm falling down is I think that list today goes through a manual process of getting account updates, getting opportunity updates, and contact updates. And I think what you're trying to do is help us alleviate having to manually do that. I'm just not sure how you do that. So if you
Yep,
could show me specifically how that happens, I think that's the confusion.
that is what I will do.
I'm always better if I see it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if I already know which ones aren't assigned.
Right, because that's what you do now. You filter out the ones that aren't assigned.
Yeah,
as
like,
so
I have no problem keeping the master list, and that took me no time at all. Because I'm going to have to figure out who they belong to anyway.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm going to do an upload. It's not, I don't want to create duplicates, so if they're in Salesforce, I want to make sure that we don't create another Brad Hogland or another BWSC. If there is 2, duplicate accounts already, where's it going to go? If they had in previous years already, different TIDs, where does that show up?
This TID is
All
it?
right, can you see my screen now?
Oh. Yes.
Okay, so here's an Excel sheet with accounts in it. And here is my actual Salesforce. I already have accounts 1 through 7 in here, right?
Okay.
But then I've added accounts 8, 9, 10, and 11 in this Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to save it, open up Data Loader, and I'm going to do an upsert. So what I have done, which I want to show you quick, accounts 1 through 6, I changed the address. If you look in Salesforce, the address is 123 Main Street. I changed it to 123 Chambers for accounts 1 through 6. Because this is a new list, they ended up moving somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is open up Data Loader and do this upsert. Oops. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Okay.
Is that standard?
Is what
Data
standard?
loader?
What? Data Loader, yes.
Data loader?
It is in. Hold on, what? I gotta remember my password. All right, I got it. It is standard in the edition that they are using.
Okay.
So the login is successful. I want to update accounts. And I will find the CSV file that I just did. Next. So we want to, I named it credit account ID number. That's the field we want to select and look for to do our updates. So next, I have to put nothing there because there's nothing. I'll auto match all of these. Okay, this is a process that I would help you learn, and I'm going to finish. It's now going to update records and insert new records. So
And when you
if I
say
now
records,
go back to the accounts,
when you say records, is it updating anything associated with that TID, or is it just updating the account object?
it's just updating the account object itself. So I've now added in, before I only had through 7, now I have 8, 9, 10, and 11 as well.
Mhm.
And with the first account, where it was here, 123 Main Street, if I reopen it in another page, that one has now been updated to Chamber Street. If there was information that changed, it would do the update. If it didn't exist, it would create the record.
Okay, so hold on a sec, Ash. So then
Yeah.
on your sheet, it's indifferent whether or not it's new or existing. Is it
On my master sheet,
on your master sheet?
those are all assigned, so they would be existing, right?
Right, but for the account, if they were existing or not existing, and we did that update for the existing ones that had that TID, if there was a change, it would make the update for you.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't there, it would add it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have account level information to update necessarily. It's usually at contact level.
Okay, so for account, that might not be as useful. It's really for the opportunity or contact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you just did that for account, Ashley.
Yep. This field can be added onto any object that you'd like. The reason why I added it onto the account is because the account is the parent object for anything else. Opportunities are attached to accounts, contacts are attached to accounts, so you have to make sure the account is in existence before you can do any kind of updates or inserts on anything else.
Hey, Ashley,
Yep.
if account 1 had 3 different credit account numbers, how would that work?
That would be a little bit more difficult. Because
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it would be better to add it onto maybe the contact object. If we adding it onto the opportunity object, I feel like as an external ID may not be as valuable because you're always going to be creating those, right? There is no point when you're going to just be updating existing opportunities in the beginning.
I don't follow. How do you mean, Ash?
So with contacts, we know that some of them may be existing, some of them may not. Same with accounts. You probably already have an account in the system somewhere. Every time you get this list, you're inserting a new opportunity though, right? So there's going to be nothing to match.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, so the only reason why I also then added this onto the account level is because, and you can add the same field onto both the contact and the opportunity as well to match off of, but in order to insert your opportunities now onto this account, you would have to run a report, which is in here. If I take, oh, it'll have to be an account report. So we can create this report in advance. And this is where the VLOOKUP is going to come into place. When I export this,
Oh, because now every opportunity will have that same parent account ID. That's what you're going to do.
yep, you need that Salesforce ID in order to insert these opportunities. So if I move it over here, that's the way we're matching then. This credit account ID or whatever you call it is the same one that's in here, and now we can move all of these account IDs over here and insert the opportunities. Or now at least we know which opportunity, which opportunity belongs to which account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so just to help clarify for me, Ashley, you can't do that for just the opportunity because the account is the parent of the opportunity. Is that why you're doing it in the account?
Yes, so the opportunity needs something to attach to. So in order to attach it, we need the Salesforce account ID. And in order to get the Salesforce account, we need some way to do a VLOOKUP and make sure we pull that over. Since account names may differ from what you're getting in the file, account names aren't necessarily the best thing to do. Like you just showed a shorthand and then within Salesforce it had the full name. Even if there's a different LLC or a period somewhere wrong, it's not going to match properly. So you need a unique number in order to match in the VLOOKUP.
Yeah. So on his list, the raw list.
Yep.
Let's say every 2 weeks he's getting unassigned PSOs.
Yep.
His process now is to go through and identify based on region or territory who that ISR is that needs to have that unassigned PSO, take ownership of that one.
Yep.
How do you tie the account ID or the opportunity? It's actually the opportunity. How do you tie the opportunity to, well, how do you tie that account ID, which represents an opportunity,
Yep.
to a particular ISR now? Because that's
To
ultimately what he was
an
doing.
individual?
To an individual, yeah.
So the way that we currently do it is we have a region area on our Salesforce and a territory area on our Salesforce. And then we have something in the background that looks at the state or the city or the zip or whatever it is that is determining that and then updates the record.
Okay, so is that in Salesforce or is that another dump with some sort of reconciliation in Excel and then using data importer again?
That is something that has been created in Salesforce.
Okay. So
we could create like a workflow or a trigger that could potentially do this for you. Otherwise, it would be a tiny piece of code.
okay. So let me try to recap and see if I'm on the same page with you to see kind of where we would have an action.
Okay.
I think the recap is this. We have a sheet. It identifies all opportunities.
Yep.
Assigned and unassigned.
Yes.
James today goes through and filters out unassigned PSOs.
Yep.
He does that for the sake or
You're kind of breaking up and you froze.
any account updates, any new opportunities, or any contact changes. And I think the suggestion.
Gabe, you froze on me.
You still there?
Okay, now you're back. Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Okay, I'm kind of hearing you, but you're in and out.
It's working on your computer.
Yeah.
I think it's signing me back in.
Okay, yes, I can see you and hear you now.
You there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hello?
Hello? Okay, I see you again now. Hello?
Hey, Ashley, I'm gonna kill this session and
Okay.
call you back. Let's see if it can't reconnect.
Okay.
So by territory assignment, the filtering process is because territory ultimately determines our. Well, I think it's a couple things. One is, can we upload all records from Excel doc, and it updates and inputs what? Is it the account?
If it's not already there, we need to create an account. So basically what the reps are doing here, they go to Salesforce, they look for the contact, see if the contact shows up. If the contact doesn't show up, they look for the account.
Right,
By
and then
domain, and then that's not there, then they create a new account and a new contact. The account is there, and they just create a new contact. All of the opportunities should be.
right. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at is, are we doing this? I think what we're doing right now is we're checking this first. With her proposal, we're checking this object to see if the account's there through data importer.
I guess I don't understand why we're doing that, but
Well, and if I think that's where she might be confused too, is what do we need to do this? I don't know. I think we do from the standpoint of if it does do update and input, well, what does it matter if it's updated, right?
yeah.
So no big deal, right? I mean, nothing lost, nothing gained. Here, this is insert, right? So this definitely is going to need,
Unless that contact, same contact from a previous account.
at that point, it's just update, right?
Update with a new opportunity.
Hey, how you doing, man? Good. I think it's her.
Chickens, man, going with the scorecard.
How are things?
Good. How's your schedule shaping up this afternoon?
We got this.
Hello?
And we got Kevin, right? And then,
Kevin in like 10 minutes.
What do you got with Kevin? What do you, I just want to,
What we've been working
just
on.
what we've been working on. Okay. And then, what's your schedule this week? You're leaving tomorrow?
I'm leaving tomorrow evening,
Okay.
but you can keep me around for as long as you want, today and tomorrow. Up until, well, I guess not as long as you want. I guess.
So what I want to do is probably similar to what you guys might be going through with Kevin, and maybe I'll sit in on that and multitask, but I want to do the same thing with the riverbed team tomorrow. If we can get some stuff mapped out on the whiteboard.
Okay.
That'd be helpful. Their processes, I think, are similar, probably more straightforward in certain respects in terms of actual number of steps, but we lose some visibility of a reseller of a partner network model, but I think that's all part of what I want to talk through, and that'll be good overview stuff for Kevin as well. So I think I'll schedule a 2-hour block for that.
Is it this afternoon?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Because that way you can focus on the envelope today, and that might not be enough time, but it'll certainly allow us to get a big chunk of stuff laid out.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. See, I think we need to just walk her through this a little bit, show her, because then if she says, okay, well, given that, we need to redirect, then maybe that's what we gotta do.
Yes, two. It's just a cluster. You might have 4. Is that right? If you have 4 freaking duplicates, I just pictures. Yes. So there you go.
But see, this is what I think she's trying to do though, is if we have the account, have an individual ID. So IBM, would there, in theory, be one account ID for IBM?
I would think all 25 plus have individual account IDs.
Okay, so they'd be different revs of IBM. Legitimately, it wouldn't be a mistake. It is possible to have 15 instances of IBM, but they'd all have their own unique ID number. Okay, so then if they all have their own unique ID number, then that means they all have for that ID number, they have individual contacts associated with just that ID number.
Yes.
They don't overlap in any way.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at this guy. So, could this be in here twice? It could. He's in here 5 times. It's just a mess.
Yeah. So really what we might be saying is that even if we do have the structure, the integrity of the data might throw it all off.
Like, it could.
Let's paint her. Can I? Oh, I can just do it for you. YouTube. This whole process.
Well, this part would be super cool if there was a way that I could track how it would work. two business. We were at Verizon right this weekend. They have these little tiny watches, right? Picture an iWatch with very limited capabilities. Like just can hold maybe 10 numbers. It has GPS tracking and stuff. But we got our boys because they're running around the neighborhood this summer. And it was kind of cool.
That is cool.
If they need, yeah, they need me, they can just press, like my little one can barely read. Like, dad, press a button, he calls me. Or I can log in. I mean, they just got to to here. They tell me where they are.
No way.
Yeah. So even they were saying, when school comes around, you still get back at it. Take off the bus or they make it home. That's worth $5 a month.
Yeah.
Buy the device. That's kind of cool. So as soon as they got it, they have 10 numbers, they called everybody.
My wife's the same time. She's 8 nowadays.
So they said,
Hey,
so when they're teenagers, they go to the party.
I don't know if you heard any of that. We're trying to figure out ways to implant my spouse.
And my kids.
And the kids, yeah. Yeah. Hey, I think we just started whiteboarding a little bit, so I think we're starting to get closer to, honestly, please don't take any of this as it's a bad idea. It's just us trying to get our heads around it, so I appreciate the patience. So, yeah. Hey, let me show you his screen real quick. I want to show you a couple of things that kind of are looming in the back of our heads and might be why we're hiccuping a little bit on understanding how this is going. Okay. So on his, oh boy,
There it goes. Did you enter the tunnel?
Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
So from a context, so what we're trying to decipher in our head is we really got 3 objects that we're trying to make sure that we're in sync on. The account object, the contact object, and the opportunity object. On the account object, he was just querying this a second ago. And if you take an example like IBM, there's like 15 instances of IBM. Now part of this is just legacy bad data that needs cleaned up. The other part of this is there's 15 instances of IBM, right, that we've done business with. And so the first question I have is, if we insert the TID at the account level, we're purposely putting together a unique TID that will always be associated with that account from here forward, right? So you can't really share. So like if these are legitimate, if this is overlap, we'll be able to weed out what that overlap is, right? So if these 4 are legitimate IBM accounts and this TID should be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and these are duplicates somehow, this would have to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. We recognize that they were, because you'd have to assign TIDs to all of these, correct? Okay, so there's that. Now let's go to contacts. So if you go to the contact, then we have a similar situation. If you go to just a contact, you might have 15 of these dudes that are associated with who the hell knows which one of the accounts that are parent to them. So how do we deconflict that?
So we have 2 options. You or it's just a matter of attaching them to the correct account from the file that we can.
Yeah. So it'd just be a manual. So in the interim, we're going to have to just sort through and do the mapping. Is really what you're saying. Yeah, okay, so now go to the opportunity level. So each one of these guys is going to have their own individual opportunities associated with them. Where does the TID come into play there?
So once again, it can either be an external ID that we use to search and import based on, or it can just be as it is today, where it's just a field to read off of.
Okay, so then the traceability then becomes TID.
Attached to the account that has that TID number in it as well.
I'm sorry, I overspoke you prematurely. Can you do that one more time?
So that our opportunity is still going to also be attached to that account, which will also have that TID number as well.
Okay, so the crux of what we're asking is, if we have multiple opportunities, can they tie to a contact? If that contact is multiple in a single account, is the TID field going to be the thread that's going to tie all three of those together? Okay, so maybe the question then, we got other guys coming in, so we got to bail off of this. So I think with that clarification, maybe what we can do is, can you mimic on your end some dummy data that would show what I just showed you, where we have multiple opportunities trying to go to multiple contacts, but we want ultimately that by a TID number, we need to be able to discern which opportunities are associated with those by an import from an Excel file. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So if you can help do that, we'll talk to these guys, and then we'll tag up here in a little bit and see what you got.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Zach.
Okay, thanks.
So, Brad, I know you wanted to go over some stuff. Did you want us to start there, or did you want to?
Give me a second. Did I want to start with what?
So what I intended to do with Kevin was simply just tee up what we're doing and kind of give him a snapshot of kind of where we are with some of the artifacts that we produced for the VMware account.
Okay.
Is that in line with what you wanted out of this, or did you want us to go a different direction?
No, I want you to do whatever you were planning on doing.
All right.
I just thought it might be helpful for me to listen in, and I'm going to be multitasking.
Okay. Do you want me to go through that presentation Ted went through, or?
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay.
Maybe I'll just start there.
Yeah, that'd be good. And then I'll set this dude up. If we display it right your way. Yeah, see, the reason why I was asking, just so you know, Kevin, is because it, kind of the life cycle of this project has been, it was introduced with the presentation that you're about to see from James, where the VMware account is going through a realignment to help take some non-sales tasks and align them to some roles that they're establishing. That's when I came in and said, okay, well, let's process map what those new roles will take on as scope.
Yep.
What it also included was the Salesforce tool suite can be leveraged to do a lot of those processes that we're assigning to roles, and it might alleviate some of the manual effort that we are currently capturing as process that doesn't need to be there in the to-be state. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is, in working with Keith in the past, he recognized that what I was doing for him was, I'm a software engineer by trade, whatever, in my prior life. And so he wanted, beyond Salesforce, to take a look at, hey, could we, with some automation, could we enable Salesforce to do some things that maybe we can't out of box feature functionality? Or with just some other's perspective, what could we be automating that we're doing manually now, right? And maybe make some suggestions around what you could be doing there. And so when I asked Brad earlier about what we might want to concentrate on with this discussion, you know, you could see that there's several facets of that. And so I didn't know where we wanted to go. For my documentation, I'm kind of at that point where it's like, I've seen some stuff and I could recommend some stuff, and I'm looking for some input on how far down that path do we really want to go.
Okay.
So I'll tee that up for you.
All right.
But it's all going to stem from kind of, that's the chronology. So now you have the context, and then you can kind of understand how it progresses when we talk about these different pieces.
Sounds good.
So, point of information, have you gotten to the point where we know whether or not some of these things can be set up as automated workflows, or are we still trying to assess that?
So we got to a point where Ashley has been brought in. We showed her what the to-be or the current state is, and she said, "Hey, I could probably do that with Salesforce now." And so the phase that we're at is, okay, we'll prove it. Let's see the demo with some real data, because I hear your theory, but let's see it.
Okay, so here's kind of the background I went through with Kevin and Brent a couple times. And basically, now it's getting hot in here. I just turned it off. It was freezing a minute ago.
Yeah, it was
like
freezing.
I said, different climate wherever you go in here. But the idea is we don't want to keep doing things the same way and expect better results, right?
Yeah.
So we have to really look at ourselves in the mirror, and we've been, we're kind of, all of our processes have been band-aided, taped together over however many years, 6 or 7 years. So, and we keep hearing, you know, VMware built out their education sales executive team basically over the last 18 months and finished it out last year. And we haven't really aligned with them. So we recognize there's misalignment. We want to be better aligned. In doing that, we want to have this idea of role specialization, where we have, instead of having reps, you know, doing 12 different job functions, having them have a sole focus, at least for the ISRs. There's a lot of non-sales work they do. We want to move those to non-sales roles. Clean up our overall processes to be more effective. We're looking at changing our quota methodology. This speaks to our burn reps, but to focus on, you know, I would say aggressive burn percentage on a 4-quarter balance of credit. And then making sure we're aligned with marketing so that we're feeding the incremental team. Okay. This is our current alignment, and you'll see it better on the next slide. We've got the VMware. This is just geographical.
So four guys on the VM side.
Yeah.
6, but yeah, it's 4 geographical. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
So where are there two?
Vertical, federal, and
SLED.
state and local education.
So they oversee the whole country just in their vertical.
And you see, I think there's 11 or 12 different reps on our team.
And the reps on our team are doing, so you said there's sales tasks, but then there's also non-sales revenue generating activity that they're doing on a daily basis. Was that?
Yeah, it's in here.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. This is how they currently map. So you can see some ESEs have 4 ISRs, and the converse is the same. We're only mapped well in Fed and SLED currently.
Okay.
And you've got our sales associate lead gen group over here. This is where we want to be. They were trying to, or Brent was trying to ask me if this represented headcount, just so you know. I said no.
He was trying to ask you what?
If this represented headcount. So he's like, go back up. And there's less ISRs on this one. I said, this is just demonstrating. I would like it to be, you know, if there's, that's one of the risks on the end of this, if there's a huge balance of credits in central, too much for one person, then, you know, we'd have to adjust. But he was doing that with, this was Friday, I think I talked to him, but with ISRs and sales associates. I know he was sensitive to our headcount.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go back to the slide, so is the big holdup, and I'm just trying to learn first day on the job. So are our gaps on, hey, the VMware people, they have way too many people to talk to. They don't know who to go to when, and it's a clutter from a communication standpoint. Or is it more on our side, we are misaligned and we have different people doing different tasks and no one knows who's doing what?
I wouldn't say no one knows who's doing what, but it's misalignment on both.
Okay.
And I mean, the current state over there, they're doing cash business and chasing that. They're trying to manage all these PSO accounts. They're answering, I mean, we'll get to it, but they're answering the 800 number and doing.
The real reason why we're doing this though is just to have the VMware people have a better point of entry and better alignment to know who they're going through when.
Yeah, they're banging the drum. They have been, since last year.
Great.
So that's,
Just get some context around it.
yeah, I'd say the more important driver than that, even though, is to improve and increase the amount of incremental revenue that we are selling for. Because right now.
I would even say total, because we're working, a lot of us are working at night just to get our current daily activities done.
Yep.
And there's a ceiling unless they cut out sleep, so.
Understood. Okay.
Which no one's taking that off the table either. Just cut off.
Adding more hours in the day. These are ESE's regions. I didn't include Latin America. So we're going to look at an incremental and burn ISR in each region to start with, and we're leaving Fed and SLED as is with the direct relationship.
But depending on volume in the region, you could have 2 or 3 in that, but they would just all be tied to the same.
Yeah.
So one of the org questions that would be a follow-up on that, if theoretically we needed 2 burn people on the central region, we might want to talk a junior rep that reports to more senior rep just to continue that fewer points of contact for the VMware roles.
Yeah.
We're also looking at splitting up this notion of just sales associates into specific groups. Again, it's not headcount, but specific areas and job functions. We pointed this out that it's not necessarily in regards to PSO burn reps. We're not looking at a dollar amount to say we need 2 reps because the dollars show that. It's actually dictated by the number of accounts. Here, let's say Essential, it's 361 individual accounts, $20 million in PSOs. This could say 15 accounts with $20 million. And in some cases it does. I mean, some of the accounts are $4 and $5 million by themselves.
Okay. Do you have a number of contacts within each account you're trying to go after?
So yeah, in regards to PSO accounts, they're all going to have one contact. In talking with the reps, these are some things that bog them down that they feel are more administrative. Specifically at the end of the quarter, like right now, you could get 20 lab connects, say, okay? Each one's worth $500, so very small transactions, but it's 20 enrollments you have to go through one by one and do in the LMS, and it's 20 opportunities in Salesforce. And so it just takes forever. So they went back, here it is, I've got it, somebody process it or automate that somehow. So account coordinators, that's the owners of the accounts. A lot of them are incorrect. There's a lot of time spent researching just to find the right information to contact somebody. PSO activation, you could do this on the front end, and when you get into the process documents, you'll see what that means. Chasing low balance PSOs, so if somebody has 2 credits and you're spending twice a day, all week long to get them just to burn these 2 credits that are worth $200, then you're ignoring the account that maybe has 300 credits, right?
So prioritize.
Exactly. Just move those on. We have sent those to our legion, specifically Justin, to give him an opportunity to get into systems and learn how to burn credits. He's done a pretty good job. This ties in really with researching a PSO account. That's a big one. We're trying to figure out if there's a way when I have new accounts to get them loaded, teed up in Salesforce so they are not doing it manually, at least in sales reps.
Salesforce is pushing back on that, or?
No, it's more along the lines of what are the fields that need to be called so that way you can reconcile them in different pieces of the project. Yeah.
And the database is 7 years old on the account, and there's a lot of duplicates and that data in there, so that's a challenge as well.
So I spent